Well done to the Tigers. Great season by the Saints, it must be said. But the language afterwards from Brett Ratton, I think, was pitch perfect.
I like it. I reckon he was scathing last year, just saying how poor their skill level was, and it's just not good enough, even when he hadn't had the job at that stage. And then on the weekend, I think Brisbane are the perfect team. That they went out in straight sets and, didn't hide away from the fact they didn't handle the finals as well as they could have. But where I think they need to address it, you look at St Kilda's best and fairest, which was held last night. And look at inside midfielders. You've got Jack Steele first, Zach Jones 6th, then it drops to 10th. So I reckon they're set up beautifully in defence. I think Wilkie and Howard are going really, really well. They've got Rowan Marshall, who could be the best player in the game at some stage in the ruck. And then you've got King and Membry and those guys in the forward line. So I think it's Gubby Allen. Carrow needs to be at his best this preseason. Try and strike while you can, while Ryder's still around, and try and bring in a tough inside elite midfielder to the football club.
Well, that's obviously what they're trying to do, and they've been linked to so many players. They emphatically deny Taranto's one of them, by the way, which we discussed here.
They're a destination club now, though. They probably weren't until last off-season. They did a good job, and now people will more readily want to go. And
that was one of the better post-season, last season press conferences I've ever heard by a coach.
Well
Brett Ratton said covered COVID, what his players had been through, the club bosses, the AFL, it was fabulous.
And well done to Brett Ratton and Simon Lefflin and James Gallagher. They've reinvented that team. Bradley Hill will take a little bit more time. I think Tim Kelly's going through the same thing at West Coast. They're so used to players and the way that they support them and give them the ball. And we've talked about it a little bit through the year, but he missed the top 10 in the best and fairest last year.
Kane, I argued this with... I asked Ross Lyon about Bradley Hill, and he said, get Bradley the ball. Give Bradley the ball earlier in the year, whereas I didn't agree with that method. That I reckon in the past he had Lewis, Hodge and Mitchell at Hawthorn feeding it out to him. He would have had Fife and Mundy and Lockie Neal. And at time, he's got to be more adequate. He's a great runner, Kane, but I think he's got to be more adequate at winning his own ball to just help him when the going gets tough. What do you think?
I think there's non-negotiables when you want to be a successful footballer and a successful finals player, that if the footy's there to be won, you've got to put your head over it and win it. I thought he damaged his reputation a little bit in that final there, where instead of picking the footy up and taking the contact, he wanted to toe poke it along. Now, he's probably the one individual that suffered the most from shortened games, so you give him a bit of a get out there. He's a 10-possession last quarter player, and that certainly hurt his weapon with his endurance. So I think it'll be better next year if games increase in length. But what he didn't do is physically commit to the contest in a big final, and that hurts your reputation.
I reckon he's a buy into 2021. He'll come back in a big way.